بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Assalamu alaikum. It is Wednesday, the 2nd of November 2022, and in our series Reflections on the Holy Quran, this is broadcast number 369. And these days we are looking at words of the Holy Quran, chapter 2, verse 105, and this is the 8th broadcast in that series. These broadcasts are brought to you. Sorry, something's gone wrong. For some reason, I have to apologize to our listeners that we'll have to start again because of a problem we had. So if you bear with me.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Assalamu alaikum again. Today it is Wednesday, the 2nd of November 2022, and in our series Reflections on the Holy Quran, this is broadcast number 369. And these days we are discussing Al-Baqarah chapter 2 verse 105, and this is the 8th broadcast about that verse of the Holy Quran. These broadcasts are brought to you by the Lahore Lahore Ahmadiyya School of Education in Religion, which is a department of Ahmadiyya Manishat Islam, also known as the Lahore Ahmadiyya Movement. The Ahmadiyya movement was established by Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, Rahmatullah Alayh. He taught us that some people say that after the Holy Prophet Muhammad, another prophet can come, but this is wrong. Because the Holy Quran says the Holy Prophet was Khatamun Nabiyyin, and the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam explained it by saying, La Nabi Abadi, there is no prophet after me. So that's the end of the story. However, the Holy Prophet Sallam did say that after me God will raise reformers, Mujaddideen. And Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad claimed that in that series of reformers, he was one of the reformers. But he said that his distinction was that other ahadith also speak of a Messiah and Mahdi, but he explained that these are not separate personalities, but attributes of his special Mujaddid. And Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad claimed that he was that special Mujaddid. who was given the titles Messiah and Mahdi by the Holy Prophet Muhammad. And Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad's teaching was that Muslims are too quick to denounce each other and declare each other as heretics and so on. But the Holy Prophet had said that if one reciter of the Kalima says about another reciter of the Kalima that he is a heretic, a kafir, then it is the person saying so who's the heretic. Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad also taught that people say that amongst our sources, hadiths or sayings of the Holy Prophet come first. But Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad said the first source that we should turn to is the Holy Quran. Then comes the practice, Sunnah of the Holy Prophet Muhammad. Then comes hadith or sayings of the Holy Prophet Muhammad. And then come other things like ijma and ijtihad, etc. Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad also taught that other people say that some prophetic revelation has been missed out from the Holy Quran. But he said, no, that is wrong. And he also taught that some people say that some verses of the Holy Quran have been abrogated. And he also taught that that is absolutely wrong. No verse of the Holy Quran is missing, or no verse of the Wahi, prophetic revelation, is missing from the Holy Quran. And no prophetic revelation has been abrogated or cancelled. That although the command is in the Holy Quran, we need no longer act on that. And Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad taught that jihad is a fundamental duty of every Muslim. But the Holy Prophet Muhammad, when returning from fighting, said Muslims were coming from Jihad Asghar, the minor struggle, to Jihad Akbar, the major struggle, and said that the major struggle is Jihad bin Nafs, a struggle, a fight with your own soul to purify yourself. So we should remember all of this. So let me turn to and recite the verse of the Holy Quran that we are looking at these days. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ما يود الذين كفروا من أهل الكتاب ولا المشركين أن ينزل عليكم من خير من ربكم والله يختص برحمته من يشاء والله ذو الفضل العظيم. Neither those who disbelieve from among the people of the book nor the polytheists like that any good should be sent down to you from your Lord. And Allah chooses whom He pleases for His mercy. And Allah is the Lord of mighty grace. Today we are going to look at the expression Wallahu. So let me turn to but before I turn to my notes, I will add the verse we are going to recite in Arabic And I've highlighted on there the word that we are going to talk about today. So, Allah. Well, people say that its root is hamza, laam, ha, which occurs in the Holy Quran in three forms, 2,851 times, 2,699 times as the proper noun, name of our Creator Allah, 147 times again as a noun, this time common noun, illah, which means God. And as I said, that the expression is wallah, wa simply means and. Sorry about this, my throat is going dry. So let me use a lozenge to stop myself from coughing, I hope. So the expression is wallah, wa, this is the resumption particle, and of course Allah, the word we are talking about. As I said uh, in many earlier broadcasts, that Ahmadis don't believe that Allah has a root, hamza, lam, ha. we believe, we believe that it's one word, the combined word Allah, which is the proper name. Even those who say that it's a combination of al and illah, they agree that Allah is the proper name of God. And as I said, talked about the word Allah many times before. But let's look at the word illah and see what we can glean from dictionaries. So as I said, Allah is proper noun, name of the Creator. Illah is common noun, God. Whether it is a false God or true God or whatever, it just means God. And this expression, this term was used for the sun as well, because as you would know, that in many ancient cultures, the sun was regarded as a god, as a creator, because people knew that they needed light, and for light they needed sun, and it was because of the sun that crops grew, and fruits and vegetables grew, and flowers grew. So they thought the sun was creating all these things. So they would worship the sun. And some people say that it means to worship. And they say, well, you worship God, so the word means God. And there's another theory which says that illah, it means astonishment. And and that is because our senses are limited, and God's person, his attributes are unlimited. So the result of that is that every time we come to realize a new attribute for Allah, we are astonished. So that is another theory. And in fact, there's a saying in Arabic that don't try and encompass uh, God and all his attributes, because you will never be able to do it. Consider the blessings he has bestowed upon us. And well, I'll give you an example that in 1930s it was considered that physics had explained everything that there was to explain, and there was nothing new. There's just one or two small things like the photoelectric effect and so on, which needed explaining, and that should be done. And we considered light to be particles. And then we studied these things more, and we realized that sometimes light behaves as particles, as Newton has thought, but then at other times it behaves like a wave, as Huygens has thought. And they got evidence of that when Young did his famous double slit experiment, and so on. And he was amazed. And everyone thought, well, light doesn't consist of like a line of particles which flow from one place to another, one after another, but it's a waveform, like sea waves. It's like that. But then they found that there were some things that could not be explained if light was a waveform, and some things couldn't be explained if they thought light was particles, corpuscles. And then something even more exciting, strange, astonishing happened. And that was that electrons were always thought of as being particles. And if you've done even GCSE physics, your teacher would have told you that an atom has a nucleus and it has electrons going round it in orbits um, similar to the way Sun and Mars and Venus and so on orbit the Sun. But they discovered that electrons also behave like waveforms. So, this idea of wave particle duality was invented. Basically, what it means is we don't know what light is or electrons are, but they appear to show or behave sometimes as particles and sometimes as light. Now, this was astonishing. Now, consider the fact that this is one tiny aspect of God's creation and how God created this universe. And there are millions, perhaps trillions of other facts and things. Just this one thing astonished scientists. This is why the Holy Prophet Muhammad, I think it was, who said that, don't try and encompass God's being and his sort of attributes. Your brains are too limited to be able to do that. Instead, consider his blessings, because they give you some idea of the glory and greatness of Allah. As you can see from this example about the electrons and light that I've given you. And some people say that Allah is actually Bila'un, and Waw was changed to Hamza, and it actually means Vilaha, and it actually means extreme love. Now, what I'm about to say is very interesting, and they say this word is used for the Creator because the Creator loves all his creation with such love that it cannot be encompassed. This is why he's called Allah. Now, you notice here, there is no mention of God taking revenge and his anger and burning people in hell and so on. The very name, these people who say this, they say that the very name Allah comes from love. That he loves the whole of his creation. Animate objects, inanimate objects, fruits and trees and vegetables and animals and human beings, etc., etc. And this is why the Holy Quran says that every creation, there's nothing in the creation but it glorifies Allah. What that means is that they follow what they were created for. The easiest example, of course, is vegetables and flowers and fruits and so on. An apple tree never bears bananas or grapes or mangoes. You plant an apple tree and you know you're going to get apples. There's no surprise in there for you, because that is what God has entrusted it to you, and that apple tree glorifies God by doing its duty, by producing apples. So that is glorifying Allah in practice. And some people say that this is from Laha Yaluhu Liyahan, which means hidden behind a curtain. Now, we cannot see God, so you can say that he's hidden behind a curtain. And they say this is why this word is used. And the Holy Quran, chapter 57, verse 3 says, وَالظَّاهِرُ وَالْبَاطِنُ. I am what is hidden, and I am what is manifest. I am what you can see, and I am what you can't see. Basically, I am everything and I am everywhere. So you can see how people have tried to explain the use of illah from different aspects. If it comes from this is how it applies to Allah. If it comes from that, this is how it applies to Allah. And one thing to remember is what chapter 7, verse 127 says, وَيَزَرَكَ وَآلِهَتَكَ, and give up other things that you turn to for help, other things that you worship. Just worship Allah. Turn to Him. Seek His support and His help. And if you do that, and you do that sincerely, you will see how your personal circumstances, your national circumstances will change within days. Within days. But remember that although our scholars and everyone stress on punishment, 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 God burning people into hell and etc., etc., the very root of the word that I've discussed with you in every theory, it talks about creation's love for God and God's love for the creation. And somehow, when dealing with things, this has got lost. And which is a sad thing, because Islam has then become synonymous or associated with violence and having a vengeful God and all this kind of thing, which is untrue. This is why I stress that we should all try and do our best to try and understand the basic meanings of the words of the Holy Quran. With that, I take my leave of you with the prayer that whoever you are and wherever you may be, may Allah keep all of you safe and sound and free from harm. Assalamu alaikum, Khuda Hafiz, and goodbye.